Are you looking for answers about extraterrestrials or maybe the true meaning of life? Then you have come to the right place. Welcome to the Ivan Teller online broadcast. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. And for more details, please visit ivanteller.com and learn more.
Hello there, greetings. Thank you for joining us. Sound test so far, so good. So, I come up with something better for that, but this is entertaining in the beginning. Trying to let the whole thing go through, but all right. Did a video earlier today of what I picked up on the message about the MIB being, humans basically not aware of it, like a MIB starseed. So that was pretty fascinating. Never really thought about it that much. I mean, obviously they're here. More knowledge of that will come through. Also, let's see. Once I get on that. Also for downloads, at least on that front, I feel like what I'm getting at came from the Arturians. As for that, I guess they kind of, I wouldn't call it battle it out with them, but there is some kind of scuffling going on with them, let's put it that way, or some kind of situation with them. So, yeah, last night I had another paralyzed. I don't know if it was an attack, but I got once again paralyzed again. I'm not sure. Maybe it was just to get my attention. So, either way, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the past either, but as we ascend in more to the higher vibrations, when we get to see, the puppet masters here, or the reptilian overlords, or whatever that's here, the last thing we want to do is start another war with them. Of course, they're always going to be kind of beating on us as we reconnect to ourselves, kind of like to see where our vulnerabilities are. They're always going to be hitting at that. So you can say in that regard, that's where you're. And they want chaos because they want to see us. Well, they don't really want it, but well, they do and they don't. They want to see us fall apart. Basically, it just shows our weakness. So the idea is to stay together, and that's not easy. It depends. Basically, yeah, they're going to hit our vulnerabilities. They already are, but as we move up the energy fields, they're going to be definitely. You can say, I mean, it's already intense, but it's going to come up. It's just going to continue until we can fully. I wouldn't say fully heal yourself, but get at least more protection around your, where they can't get into your mindset. Basically, in that sense. No, this is all craziness, basically, but that's basically, so they can't get into your energy field and cause, go crazy, basically. Calm nature is definitely what you want to connect with, or calmness. And you notice in the media, mainstream, even alternative media, there's still a lot of this paranoia, and so that's not how you really ascend. Not really. Well, it's steps. But this whole thing about being paranoid of the cabal and getting all excited about, they don't realize this actually fuels them. The paranoia, the hate, and all that nonsense, it just fuels it, makes it worse. So they don't realize that. I mean, you're like going into a circle. So that's the last thing you need for. They'll connect to it when they're ready to. Everybody's on a discovery, obviously, level of understanding what this is all about. But being paranoid and crazy is not how we're going to heal the planet. And attacking Trump isn't going to work either. And so it shows you where we got a long ways to go. Yeah, talk show at the what Jimmy Kimmel breaking down to feel like that's the right way to go. I mean, yeah, it's free speech, but it's also we got a long ways to go. So as for internal healing, and the odyssey is what's coming to me. The odyssey of the new vibrational energies that are connecting to us, different colors, different energy fields as we ascend to more of the higher fourth dimension. It's basically just letting go of paranoia and, this person said this, that person said that, and that person channeled this, that person channeled that. I mean, obviously, I don't agree with everything, but it does feel like just taking it in stride, not to cause any kind of negative disruption within you, basically. Now, that sounds weird. Of course, if there is a negative disruption channeling, but either way. The idea is just to, what I feel what I'm connecting to is basically calmness will take us into the higher realms, um, and understanding, basically. An understanding, you can say. And that's where all the paranoia and all that doesn't. Of course, you understand the paranoia, but don't judge it either. And it's all a learning experience. As yeah, it's a lot of we're getting hit by everything, and the idea is to learn from it, grow, and not have any vendettas. Obviously, that's the last thing we need. Basically, going to I mean, that's how you connect to the fifth dimension. Is to just not have this waterboard of attack energy towards anybody. It does help. This person, yeah, this person's this and that. Da, 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 da. Obviously, you're not going to agree with everyone, but it's on what energy you put into it. Obviously, you don't want people that are not right for you. You don't want that in your energy field, obviously, and that's where your walls come up and your protections, which is quite understandable. You don't want to leave your walls down. Just oh yeah, I just love everybody. There are some individuals you gotta kind of close out, and maybe that's wrong, but I don't think so because it's best for you for your energy to go to a higher density level. It's the only way it's going to work. If you let yourself open and let people like are negative around you all the time, you just feel yourself sinking down. That's why. Obviously, when you leave, I mean, you're not out there to attack anybody or anything, but you want your energy field as pure as possible as it can be as we go into more of a new awakening energy. Yeah, it just takes time. Basically, we are working towards physical contact, of course. That will continue to go through because it will happen, and it just baby steps, and each day gets us closer. As for when, not to worry of that, just to continue to go forward. It's forward knowledge, also forward into the higher realms of basically of it's just knowing basically. It's knowing it's just everything will work itself out type of energy. And us you'll just know. It just sometimes you don't always know. So that's where we're heading basically. And it's like coming out of the web basically of the matrix. It's just knowing that even if you don't know, but you do know, if that makes sense. You just know it'll all work out in the long run. You'll be placed where you need to be placed. This will be here. This will be there. Just be in the right. You just gotta trust spirit, trust yourself, and yeah, obviously you have your own desires, of course, but that's all part of your knowing. I want this, I want that, but I want it now. There's that. But yeah, I think it's best to that's a tough one, but it's also part of lessons. But just let it flow, and you will go on the path that's right for you. And that's not always easy to connect with. Obviously, I'm just getting this right now, so um, yeah, just follow your heart and not to Worry, there's nothing wrong with worry. It depends on what kind of, eventually we'll move out of worry. I mean, obviously not to worry is really where you want to go. But, it's human. It's, it's what do you put into that? I mean, you can put in a little bit or none, or better for none. But you're always going to have a little bit of that. But it's how much energy you put into worry. If you don't just put a little bit, that's normal. It's when you put a lot of energy into worry is where you really clog out your mental state. So basically, just having a clear mind and clear understanding that the puzzle pieces will be put in, that is part of your timeline, will find its way into the right direction. And you will also see the webs of control around, not necessarily around you, but around thought patterns around others that are part of paranoia and other, or does that say paranoia? That seems to be a hot topic. Like with YouTube. Also, YouTube is kind of going through a purge. A lot of it is money related for YouTube. A lot of them, I believe YouTube's also, I want to say also in some ways scared of their popularity. You want to make it more friendly, advertiser friendly, obviously. So they're not really caring about the publicity they're getting, but they're so big right now. I don't think they even know where they're going. They don't have a clear direction, not really. It's like when you have so much success, it's hard to think clearly because there's no real competitor. And so that is also not necessarily will happen, but that's when the ship starts to build leaks here and there. Not to say it's going to happen right away, but kind of like when empires fall. Not necessarily, but I figure I'll bring that up because that seems to be part of the big paranoid energy on um, YouTube at this moment. And also for me, also because I'm figuring out what to do with my stuff. Of course, I'm here now. I'm looking at it a lot differently, but of going backing myself up in different ways, and I'm not sure what way is the right way. Well, obviously, it's backed up, but back up in a way that it's not as easy as you like it to. I guess I'll just make it work and still working out the directions of going. Basically have another video source here. So if this, I don't think this thing will get hit, but I don't think so. But you never know. But at least I'll have like Plan B will be there. So all right, yeah, as what I mentioned earlier about the MIB energies, not to worry, but yeah, they are getting kind of vicious from what I feel. They're not going to. They're going to basically controlling energy mentally. These are be through humans, though. And they're not going to know they're going to have that connection. Basically, it's like I know that, I know this, and they kind of like a mind control. They kind of throw on individuals because they don't want you connecting to this stuff. So if there's any hostility from coming from anyone that's not, like I say, not everybody's going to be involved with this because usually they'll have some kind of spiritual awareness in some regard. Not always, but in some regard, there'll be some. Probably because that's where it really works because it's like an infiltrator. That sounds weird, but it's like they're infiltrating the group so they can sabotage it. Look at it that way. So it's very fascinating. I give it that. I know it clearly. Well, not clearly, but ouch. Yeah, it's kind of menacing, but that's okay. That's part of the awakening process. That's not one I ever thought would ever just never came into my focus. So it's all part of growing up as we continue on. Let's see. As for the energies of, let's see here, where we're going with all this. Basically, yeah, just focus on what you want and be patient with it. As we all transition to more of a new vibration, is basically more connecting to their Palladian, Syrian, Arcturian, and Andromedan connections more than ever. Basically, if you have that already, everybody does have different connections of these starseed energies. Basically, once you are ready, it will activate even more when the time is right. Uh, Everyone has their conflict they're going to go through because it's like you're climbing like a mountain of like you're climbing a mountain of to ascension basically, and we're all in different parts of this reality, different areas of it, and basically we're all heading for the top. It's one way of looking at it, and where you don't have to worry anymore and have any of these demons either. Is basically you just have a purity um, mindset of where you are going, and no worry will be in your mind ever again. So that is, yeah, that is where we are going. So obviously there are a lot of what's going on is yes, a lot of Anunnaki and other beings are they're having fun, but also they're learning through us how we adjust to certain uh, manipulations. So think of it as like, yeah, it's like a laboratory, and they're like, here, push this button, and this problem will happen. See how the human reacts. It's kind of like that, like a bunch of lab rats. In some regard, it does seem like that. And you can always leave the room when you feel like it, but some of us are, well, that's how we learn. And so it's probably a better way of looking at that, but either way, there's definitely other better ways of looking at that. But either way, they're learning through what, yeah, you can look at them as like scientists. They're not just doing this for for shits and giggles. They're actually learning through us. And so, we're learning from them. And so to go on the attack towards them really doesn't make any sense. Of course, at third dimensional manipulation, it does. But when you leave that mental manipulation, you see things more clear. It just takes time for that to get focus. Because basically, like paranoia, it's like I want to go after the Illuminati and all that. That's not going to get us anywhere. Not really. It's like we're just climbing out of the manipulation basically to find our true selves, and we will find it. It is just that's why we all have each other. Of course, we're just going to. It takes time. There's so much to learn here still. That's why we're on. Things have not sped up, but it's like we're all like, let's see, they're showing it like we're all like male male people. We're sending out mail to everybody. That's one way of looking at it. It is messages, isn't it? So we're just sending everybody mail of, and they don't want to open it, they don't want to hear it, or some open it, not sure about it. And obviously, when you go into a higher vibration, there's nothing to worry about. Yes, there are strange things here, but once you get over that, like reptilians and sectoids, once you get over all of that, everything's it's just another experience. That's all it is. So obviously, when you're coming out of the abyss of 3D, you see a reptilian or a snake human being and just freak out. But like I said, when you get that all out of your system, when you're no longer scared of all of that, everything just gets very, very calm. And it's just like anybody else. It's just, yes, they look different, but it's actually very intriguing now instead of scary. That's where we're heading. So, and that's for those that are ready for this and already at that point, you're sending your energy out. I mean, you probably already know this, but you're sending your energy out to help people see it that way. And they'll either find you or find your message on Facebook or wherever, and just I don't have to be scared about this anymore, do I? It takes time. We are really, like I say, we're like in the less than 1% of understanding. And there's others out there that have an understanding, kind of, but don't have a direction of where to go with all of this. But that is where we're basically going to. It's just more of, yeah, the more, let's see, higher fifth dimension is really where we're heading. But as you gradually go through third, fourth dimension, at least from my perspective, others have different, but uh, is more of metaphysics, your powers, your abilities, levitation, all that becomes more part of society. You know, more psychic abilities, but more than that. Just that is fourth, and it even goes into fifth. But of course, you gotta gradually go up. So as it goes into society, instead of all video games and see what I see it, that's very third dimensional. Of course, others might see it differently, but or lower fourth, you can look at it that way. But as we reconnect to our powers, there is going to be a massive amount of ego. Once people they're going to have to experience that to get it out of their, oh, I can do this better than you. And then we got all that going on. Just ends, does it? It just never ends. That's all right. Just get it out of your system. We'll be over here when you get all that. When you're the greatest person who ever lived, we'll wait until you get that out of your system. So, and then you can rejoin either way. There's going to be so much of that. Oh. That's anyway. So, but yeah, as for how this is all going to come into Earth's reality, just day by day, little by little, word by word, it will find itself to humanity's higher source. You don't always have to agree with everything. Just realize you are coming from source. It's all a learning experience, even if you don't always agree with everything. Obviously, it's all still a learning experience. It's all steps. So just look at it like that. Don't look at it as, oh, that's wrong. I'm being attacked. Now I'm making a big deal out of nothing. And it's like, it's all steps into the higher dimensions, basically. So it's like, it's a step. Maybe I don't always agree with it, but that's okay. I'm still growing and building into more of a higher awareness where there is, yes, no worry, and just high vibrational transformation where we all interconnect to the telepathy eventually. We have to get over the 3D existence. It's like, yeah, it's like changing clothes. That's what they're saying. Yeah, it's changing, and that will happen too. Clothing will change, obviously. It's just gonna be. It's now during Atlantis, there are different interpretations of it, of course, through obviously through timelines. Some see a fast manipulation. What I see in some areas it was fast, some areas it was slow. It depends on what vibration you're at. Those that are chasing, I hate to do this, but I don't want to use that word, but either way, those that are chasing Kim Kardashian and stuff like that are easy to compromise. Not always, but in some cases, or a lot of cases. It depends on what's going on. What kind of voodoo magic is going on there? So, jeez. Yeah, because somebody that dresses up all fancy and look at me, I'm so wonderful. And they almost like put a spell on everyone. So look at it that way. So, but also, I think I brought this up before, but the Arab world, as you see how hostile it is because those are the ones that are manipulated in the very beginning. Of course, somebody take it either way. That's what I'm getting. That they were one of the first beings to be really got hit with either they're turned against humanity. I think some were, where they're just turned violent against other humans and just had their powers just like I'm seeing like beams out of their eyes and stuff like that. I'm not sure if they had that, but possibility. But basically, their powers, those that were manipulated very easily, use their high energies against others, and it turned into like a war. So the energy in the Arab world is not always entirely toxic, but quite a bit of it is. And what's going on in Africa, there's so much alien energy there. They make it hostile, so nobody wants to go there. It's an experiment. Of course, everything is now. But the Arab world has definitely went through a lot of, because I see a lot of them being transformed to like just weapons, human weapons, just with their own abilities, just weaponize, attacking others just with their powers and event until they either died out. So you can say it's like a mutant thing or something like that, or like you see in the comics. But basically, they're I am seeing lasers coming out of eyes, stuff like that. I know it sounds crazy, but it's basically their abilities are used to against other humans, and that was a real toxic area for a very long time. Yeah, I don't think that's in the history books. And that was I think during the time of Atlantis, even after the time of Atlantis, it feels. So, yeah, in some cases. Again, the full Syria is definitely one of them. Syria was highly manipulated over span of time. There's a lot of alien artifacts there that have been destroyed. There's so much there, but hidden. Illuminati energies are there often for mass manipulation because they want to keep it hostile because they don't want humans to discover what is truly there. There's a lot of vortexes there, high vibrations that have been clamored by war, poverty, and they want to keep it as toxic as possible. Syria is a main port of opening up portal energies, basically. Yemen is also, but Yemen's been really taken down. Syria is not fully taken down. The energies are still there. It's just difficult to get to, as there's many positive vortexes there can take you to other worlds. As humans aren't, once you open up yourselves, you will see it more clearly. But right now, you're just dissecting what is true, what is not. As the alien beings here are causing difficulties for humans to think clearly, are getting more defensive because they realize obviously where humanity is going, and they're just trying to keep a lid on the ancient world as much as possible. Paranoia, anger, fear, hostility. Hostility is really what they want. Basically, yes, look at humanity as a stew of poverty in a lot of ways. And it is of just the beings here want the humans weak so they can get into their minds of what is best for you. They put into those that are wealthy but realize that's not exactly the right way to go. They don't want humans to connect to their power, so they try to show wealth as the way of power, as it really is not. It's actually wealth is within you. And so they show money as a way of, so when you want something, you want money instead of your own abilities to activate. So that's why many are poor here also, because money is not important here. It is illusion as it is, but it really is not. So humans will eventually gradually understand that as we go into more of a high direction. We are building into the new world, but poverty is there. It depends on how you look at it. It's a blessing and a curse. It's also a blessing because remember, you have who you are, and many don't even have jobs, so they have time to connect to themselves. So it gives you more time. You have all the time that you need to reawaken yourself if you wish to do so. Yes, it will take time. It's not something that will be done quickly, but it is there for a reason, because money is just part of the manipulation. It is part of, yes, it does power the cabal into thinking that they are right and you are wrong. It is also showing not all those that are high wealth of who the villains are here. Those are of your titans, your billionaires, stuff like that. Not all of them, of course, but you know who they are. Basically, we have scandal around them. That's them. So yes, that's part of yes. They came here also as teachers, and also it's like, how long can you believe in this hoax that we're putting on you? It's like they're almost like wizards. It's like realize that this isn't really, you don't really need these things, but like Amazon and other things. But for right now, we're going to, take over your minds until you realize you don't really need us. So that's what basically it takes time to unfold of the dimensions here and to connect what truly matters. Everything's going to go into more simplicity. We realize how many make life so complicated, but eventually we'll connect to more of a simplicity because that connects you to more of your heart, your chakra system, your heart chakras, everything will get simple because the complexity is there for a reason, for manipulation. Also, this and that and this and that and all. Uh, it doesn't have to be that way. It can be the simple life is really where you're all heading, just to give it time. You are also um, letting go of their old ways, and it's not always easy because realize how many are bringing conflict to each other. Part of it's part of growing out of this third dimensional mindset. Because once you realize there's no conflict towards anyone, you'll just feel more peace. You don't have to always agree with everyone, but you just allow the conflict to let it go. And that's where you'll find a self purity. It's like this person's that person, this person's that person. Don't just concentrate on yourself because that's where the real healing is. Because you're concentrating on yourself and not on others. Nobody's perfect, of course, but that is part of the manipulation. Also, as for gossip, there's certain dramas that because you're all learning from each other, it's what kind of energy you put into it, basically. Obviously, you're learning from each other. It depends on what type of energy you put into it. If you put an energy of learning and why am I going through this or why is this happening, that's one thing. But to just throw negativity at somebody doesn't get you anywhere. Let's put it that way. Because there's always going to be discussion. So it depends on what energy you're putting into everything. Drama or gossip. It all depends on how you put it into. If you're always like in envy and it's kind of like where your self love is draining out of you because you're envy of this person of jealousy. So that's really where the manipulations come in. It's like, oh, you're jealous of that person, so you know, so we can get you there. So it shows a sign of weakness. It all takes time of basically building your foundation of yourself and growing to your highest achievements. Basically, not to worry and know that you will find what you are looking for. The beings here are causing difficulties it can only last so long. They're as you find inner peace, they won't be able to put walls around you any longer because you will see through them. Basically, you'll know where it's coming from also, and that's when you high vibration yourself to more of the fifth dimension. It's basically just allowing yourself to heal. It's basically you don't realize the soul is going through maybe you do actually going through a lot of conflict. The idea is to heal those conflicts, and that's where peace will come onto the planet. Basically, as everyone becomes more peaceful towards each other, and basically more telepathy will come in. Because right now there's a lot of agendas, and that's normal, but the agendas is what's causing the divide in humanity. Is It's not always the human's agenda; it's the agenda of who's around you. And that's it's their manipulations on you and you're not always seeing it. So basically clearing out the manipulations will help you see more clearly. Basically it takes time. It just takes time for this to unfold the dark reality here, as it is intense here. One moment. Just silently heal. That's why silence is good too for meditation, because you can just can you be with yourself in silence? Doesn't have to be a long time. Can you handle that? Yeah, that's another way of connecting to spirit. Basically, you trusting yourself, your higher self. How you go into the fifth dimension is basically you don't have to be perfect, but just not to dwell on mistakes. Learn from the mistake and move on. Now, if you dwell on it and say, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing," that just give yourself time. You will heal from that, but just keep going forward. You will, because you're building your future that way. Not to worry, not to be hard on yourself. Sometimes, I mean, some need to be hard on them. That's fine. It's all in how you go about it. But dwelling on the past is not. It's everyone has their own ways of learning, of course. Um, just give it time. Time is your friend. Eventually, you will have no time, as a calendar will be lifted from your world. As time is a teacher, but you can also teach it that you can work with it and make it work for you, and eventually release it when the time is right. Is there also a teacher? Time is a teacher. Everything's a teacher. And the beings here, the aliens, even the spirits on the other side, they're all warning. Now, some spirits on the other sides are having difficulties connecting to this world. Some do, because they want the human body. They want to experience that, so they get in some ways jealous. It does exist there because they want to be a part of the human experience. So sometimes they do take over humans, and agendas begin. Does happen. Time it does happen because they get excited and they can't help it. So yes, there is conflict in different realms, of course. They were warned that, but the idea is to heal from those experiences and to understand why you went through them. If you want, the idea is to go forward, constantly go forward, because that is where the heart center is. So, leave you with that. That was Palladians, I feel. Yes. Nice. So, all right. I'll leave you with that. That was interesting. So, all right. Much love, everyone. We just leave it as a message for tonight, and I'll be back tomorrow.